the projection they just made, you can see 2023, 2024, what happened. You can see clearly that COCOBOD raked up heavy debts in those years. You can see it. Two, you also have to understand that because of what happened, the failure, refusal, or neglect to deliver by contract affected the confidence of buyers. So they were not now ready to pre-finance the buying of the cocoa beans. That was why a new funding model came into being. That shook the market and destroyed the confidence of those who had provided stable capital. Okay? Now, you combine it with and for 8 years, I was in Parliament for 4 of those 8 years of the MPP, the administrative costs of COCOBOD continuously kept rising. Anytime they took the syndicated loan, they spent a heavy part of the syndicated loan on themselves, on administration. We raised red flags that this model was not sustainable. You go and look at the cocoa rows, the amount of money in that period that was spent on cocoa rows. Then you ask yourself, what model was that? How can you rake in that debt and still think that an institution, a trading institution like COCOBOD, will survive? Now, if you enter into a delivery contract, fail to deliver the quantities, the obligation under that contract, you're not excused of that obligation. You're not excused. So you had forward sold. And so when you fail, and there's a rollover, you are still obligated to supply at the amount. Because the failure to supply was not because the buyers refused to take, but because you couldn't supply.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, and you know that we would have stood to benefit if in the succeeding years, cocoa prices dropped to a level below 2,600.
Yeah.
We would have benefited.
Yeah.
So we would lose if cocoa prices went beyond. I mean, if cocoa prices had fallen beyond,
and they did, they went up. So
if cocoa
that's why we are
if cocoa prices had fallen below, I'm sure today Randy will not be sitting here claiming that. They will say that it is because they were visionary. They saw it from afar and that cocoa prices will plummet, and so they sold at. So you must be prepared to say that, look, that action of failure to deliver, not failure to enter, into a contract, but failure to deliver the excess 333 tons is probably responsible for our present situation. You must understand that. Because if that had been delivered, now we will hold the present management of COCOBOD responsible for not entering into a forward contract in a manner that brought revenue. So that is a prudential decision they took, the reduction of the price of cocoa to reflect the situation at COCOBOD and also world market prices.